Well, there's not many places I can talk to today, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet because I'm doing what I've kind of called a climbing endurance ride, and it's kind of practicing the art of climbing in a sense, because, you know, it's one of the big differences I think with climbing, doing efforts on climbs and doing it on a flat road. There is a difference, and for me, a climbing endurance ride is very much about trying to accumulate as much climbing as possible, as much elevation as possible, but by doing it in a way that I'm riding almost at sweet spot when I'm climbing. And for me, I'm kind of sitting in a range of anywhere between 5 and 6 watts per kilo. 6 watts per kilo obviously being FTP, but in terms of the climbs are about 10 to 15 minutes in length, which aren't like super long. Well, I guess they are for a lot of us in the UK, but I'm making the most of the climb. So I'm really kind of pushing on, and everywhere else on this route I'm completely off the gas. I'm doing like 100 watts or something, and I'm just getting used to accumulating a lot. So hopefully I'm going to accumulate a lot of elevation in this ride. So that's part one of the puzzle. Part two of the puzzle is still being able to maybe not produce the same power in that last hour or two, but at least still be able to get close to like 5 watts per kilo or something. So that drop off, you know, I'm working that climbing endurance. So if I was to do this on a flat route or flat road, you know, and I was to ride it sweet spot or whatever on a flat road, there's a lot of things in my mind are different, because there's a lot to keep your mind occupied when you're climbing versus when you're going on a flat road and you're rattling along at sweet spot. You kind of get the sensation of, you know, oh, I'm moving through the road, I'm moving down this road at, you know, 18-20 mile an hour or whatever, and like everything's passing me and I'm feeling good and I'm going along. But up a climb, you know, you do the same power, and like even me, steep climbs, you're going quite slow, and a lot goes through your mind, and it's about practicing that mentality of like, I'm doing the same power here, but I'm gripping the bars different, I'm pulling on the bars differently, I'm out of the saddle, I'm in the saddle, I'm changing my cadence, I'm trying to pick a smoother section of road, because in my mind I'm like, this climbing thing hurts, and it's like a whole different game. So that's what this ride is all about. Do you ever get that when you stop after a long ride and it's been like quite warm? Do you ever get that where like it just sweat just pours off you when you stop? That was a 3,600 meter climbing day, 150k in 5.5 hours. That's probably the highest average speed I've ever had over a climbing day like that in training. Like, maybe I've obviously raced, I've done races that have climbed the same, but we've obviously gone faster. But that's that must be a personal record for me. 275 TSS, comes in the middle of a block. We did a big day yesterday, so I did 4 hours and just over 200 TSS yesterday. 4,000 kilojoules. So I normalized 260 watts. And my average heart rate was 128. My max heart rate was 178, and that was right at the end where I going up the final climb up Scotch Pine out of Ammanford, I just thought I'm going to wind it up. And the climb itself is probably about, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe? But it's like really uneven gradient. Like last time up, we've done 3,000 meters of climbing already. 3,200 kilojoules of work by then, I think. I've done this climb twice already. Third time, I'm just gonna go. And I think I must have averaged like close to 6 watts per kilo for 10 and a bit minutes. But I like wound it up like slowly, so I actually finished over 6 watts per kilo in the last couple of minutes. It's hard to explain. I feel like I'm one of those people who can like ride, like I do, you know, very good power fresh, but I feel like when I'm fatigued, there's very little drop off. I can't do like world-class numbers for like short power durations when I'm fresh, but there's not much of a drop off when I'm fatigued, which is a good thing in a sense because it's part of what I train for sometimes. But I also enjoy doing that as well. It's weird. Like at the end when I did that effort up that climb, like it felt hard. Like I was 175 beats a minute. It felt hard, but it felt really good. Like I just felt like I'm doing like 360 watts plus for a little bit. And I'm like really getting into this. This is good. This is good. I don't know whether it's like a psychological thing because I know that it's usually where people come unstuck, you know, not just us, but, you know, pros. You watch them in the Tour de France and like when they get 4 hours into the stage, you're like, boop, boop, boop. So, I don't know, maybe it's a psychological thing, but I felt good. If you don't want to see my naked torso, look away now, but this is what happens when it's like fly season and all these little flies, that one's still alive. They're like, maybe they like my chest too much. Alright, so I've got the hard job now of naming the winner of CyclePal tyre seating tool that I said we're going to play a caption competition. Best caption wins. The captions are good. Most of you were basically making jokes about what I was wearing, the fact I was wearing like sandals and socks, which is a crime against all types of fashion, I think. Plus I was wearing that flannel that I was wearing for some of the rides, so I got a bit of stick for that during the day and night, or during the whole ride really. But this one in particular, Ian Brewer says, Mandy is saying to Ed, there aren't any trees to chop down around here. The irony is, there are a million trees to chop down because we were in North Wales. But I decided to pick that one because it kind of fitted with the actual feel of the photo. We were at that point where a lot of us were kind of fuzzy because we'd been riding through the night and stuff, and we were at that halfway point. We met up with a group of people we were riding back with. And the jokes were flying in about what I was wearing, so I picked that because it was in fact, Ian, it was almost like you were there, like you knew exactly what was on our mind. Well, not my mind, but everybody else's mind. So congratulations, Ian. You're gonna have the most fun ever now fitting tires to your bikes forever and ever. Go check back on the end of the video, left a comment, reach out to me, and we'll get it sent over to you ASAP. But that's gonna be it for now. I'm gonna enjoy this flat-ish stage of the Tour de France. The breakaway still hasn't gone, and it's 2 hours in. Absolute panic stations. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.